Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the tree. I don't know how it did it.
Okay.
There is one more piece of evidence that some believe might solve forever the mystery of the Yeti. In 1996, video footage from the mountains of Nepal, called the Snow Walker video, claimed to have captured for the first time the actual abominable snowman. The tape shows a male and female hiker from Belgium who fill 45 minutes of video footage with typical vacation shots of Nepal and their trek through the Himalayas. While climbing a hill, the cameraman turns back to shoot the couple's own footprints in the snow. Suddenly, the camera captures a strange figure. Jeff Meldrum is a university primatologist whose interest in ape and gorilla locomotion led him into a study of the Yeti. He believes that analysis of the video makes a hoax unlikely.
My first reaction was, in watching the Snowwalker footage, was akin to one of the first times I had seen a gorilla up close in a zoo. Its movement and some of the postures that it adopted were strikingly ape-like in character. At the same time, however, I was intrigued because then it sort of made a transition from that ape-like posture into a fully upright posture.
Though relative size of the creature is hard to determine, comparison of the tracks on the video seem to show that the creature's footprints are significantly larger than the human's footprints.
I am quite confident in my estimate of scale, which was derived from the witness's snowshoe trackway. Using that trackway as a scale, the subject had to be in excess of 9 feet tall. When you are confident of a size in excess of 9 feet, you have to ask, where did they find an actor to fill that costume?
Whether or not this video proves to be evidence of the abominable snowman, it adds another piece to the convoluted jigsaw puzzle that is the hunt for the Yeti.
Sitting next to the trail on the valley floor. Suddenly, the creature rises and walks away. At this point, the photographer struggles with the camera. But we catch two more fleeting glimpses of the beast, once on a rock, and finally, traversing the ridge above. To find what this creature is, we assembled a team of experts to examine the footage.
One of the things that I'm immediately impressed by is just the massiveness of it, but yet, although it appears to have great bulk, it appears to be very natural. It doesn't appear to be like a padded costume.
Jeff Meldrum is a primate anatomy expert from the University of Idaho.
The only reference for scale that we have in this image is the trackway left by the mountaineers using a conservative estimate, say, of 16 inches width on that trail. We can then estimate the limb proportions and dimensions of the creature on this video. Based on that, we're talking here about an individual that is somewhere between 8 and 10 feet in height. The fact that we can demonstrate the large size and proportions greatly diminishes the likelihood of a hoax, because it makes it that much more difficult to contrive a costume.
Richard Greenfield is one of the world's leading cryptozoologists. He searches for evidence of new species whose existences have not yet been verified.
I can tell that it's a primate. It's a large primate that has no business being there, but it is there. And that's what makes it very interesting and potentially a great scientific discovery.
Stories of human-like creatures living in the high mountains have been told for centuries. Without hard evidence, they have been largely dismissed as fables. Stephen Waymeyer is a folklorist at UCLA.
The explanation has been offered that sightings of the Yeti are, in fact, sightings of monks. There's some accounts of a practice among Tibetan monks, which is the ability to generate and project great heat from within the body. And this would allow someone, an adept of this practice, to survive, obviously, in the wintry cold of the Himalayas.
But according to Meldrum, a creature living in seclusion in the heart of the Himalayas would not necessarily have to endure long stretches of sub-zero temperatures.
The term abominable snowman is a real misnomer, because if this creature exists, it doesn't inhabit the snowfields of the high elevations, but instead would occupy the temperate valleys in between the mountain ranges. And its tracks are simply seen as it goes from valley to valley.
To the experts, the most significant aspect of the footage is that it provides a rare glimpse of the behavior of an unknown creature in its natural habitat.
The scene where the creature seems to be just sort of sitting there, in fact, at first glance, it looks like a rock. It appears to be looking at the trail. Apes are naturally very inquisitive. It may not have felt threat from this pair, and so its curiosity won over its fear, and it was simply investigating.
Although the experts agreed that the tape wasn't conclusive, it was very persuasive.
Assessing it purely on face value of what we see, yes, I think this is extremely compelling evidence in favor of the existence of the Yeti or something akin to that.
Maybe the Yeti doesn't exist, but there may be a creature roaming around the Himalayas that sure looks a lot like it.
This is much more compelling evidence than I had expected. It reminds me, in fact, of viewing a recent television show where the first film was made of lowland gorillas in the wild in the impenetrable forest. And that same sort of sensation is what I experienced seeing this large, graceful animal in its habitat. And everything about this video just strikes me as very natural, very unorchestrated, and just a very simple encounter with a very elusive, very shy creature.
Thus far, the entire Yeti myth has been sustained by witness sightings and a few footprints. There have been no photos until now. Our experts seem to think that the footage is genuine, but they have retained copies for further study. If the Yeti does exist, then you may have just seen the first proof.